Hello and welcome. I am so honored and delighted to have very, very special guest goddesses, incredible women here today. These conscious women that I love and adore. Fiona, Joanna, Katherine, and Bernadette, they are just incredible light workers. They're all graduates of the International Feng Shui School. They've studied the Feng Shui Master Certification. They've studied through the geomancy and the land healing, and they are out there sharing their light and wisdom in the world, consulting, teaching workshops, sharing their wisdom in all sorts of beautiful ways. So I'd like to just invite and welcome Fiona. Welcome. If you'd like to introduce yourself.
Thank you so much. I'm absolutely delighted to be here. I'm a feng shui consultant. I trained in 2019. And I absolutely love anything to do with spaces and energy. My background is in architecture and I love combining both and working with clients to help them on their feng shui journey. So that's me. Thank you.
So happy to have you here, Fiona. Thank you. And Joanna.
Hi, I'm Joanna. I'm a feng shui consultant as well and trained with you, of course, Amanda. I've been practicing and training with feng shui now this last few years, and I have done the geomancy course with yourself and Alex, which was amazing. And I have just gone on and kind of practiced and healed myself even further with different land clearing courses and stuff. And I'm a cannibal practitioner as well, so I'm a bit of everything at this stage. But it all started with you, Amanda. So nice to meet you all today.
Oh, lovely. And let's not leave out the fact that you're actually an animal whisperer, as well as I was trying to think of the female of a farmer. right. Yeah. I've always seen those baby lambs being born and everything.
Oh yeah, I love my animals.
Well, so happy to have you here. Thank you for being here, Joanna. And Katherine, welcome.
Thank you, Amanda. It's so wonderful to be here and to be with all these people again that I have trained with. I've trained with Amanda, and it's just been life-changing over the years. Managed to go to China and do some further training there. But all these women that are on the group today are just amazing and great fun, great crack. We've just had lots of fun times in the training. We've learned a lot, but it's been a lot of fun. It's been great to be with like-minded people and just do and work at what you love and be part of something greater than yourself. It's just been an amazing journey for me, and I'm so grateful to be here today. Thank you, Amanda.
Oh, so happy to have you here, Katherine. And correct me if I'm wrong, but hasn't that sistership has gone way beyond in the hours of the training? Right?
Totally. And I guess, being able to rely on the friendships that we've gained along the way has been huge, because we're popping questions off each other and stuff that we come across. It's like, have you had this before? Have you come across it? How do we deal with it? What's your experience? And it's been really helpful to be in such a tight-knit group. There are more, but like people that are here today have just mean a lot to me, and I'm very grateful for that. Thank you.
Thank you for being here, love. And Bernadette, welcome.
Hi, my name is Bernadette, and I trained with Amanda in 2018. Myself and Joanna did. And then we went on and did the geomancy course in live with Alex and Amanda. And then we went to China. It was a very fast year and a half, I have to say. And I haven't looked back. And Katherine is right. You do meet your soul sisters or your soul family, and the connection goes on and on from there. We've been very lucky to have done that training with you, because it opened up so many doors, as Joanna said. I've gone on and done other healing modalities because I think it's important to bring those in or to understand them. Like when you're going to someone's home, to be able to understand all of those. So yeah, that's me.
So happy to have you here. So grateful. And I love that you've been listing the years that we met, but it definitely feels like lifetimes that we're just coming back around to this one. And we were having a good giggle before we pressed record, because we realized, without planning, but we all dressed in the elements. So we brought all the elements to you here today. We're having a good giggle about that. So, and then as you can hear from all these beautiful women's accents, we're all here in Ireland and sprinkled all over from... Okay, Fiona, you are in...
I'm Cork.
Cork, and yeah, so we've got right down the very south there. I'm southeast. Joanna, you're in the north. You're in
Donegal.
Gorgeous Donegal as well. And then Katherine, you are West Coast.
In the beautiful County Clare.
Gorgeous. And then Bernadette, you are in
the fabulous County Cork.
Beautiful. And it's lovely because I know the parent yourself, and actually you've been sharing workshops, teaching, and we'll talk all about that later on. But we're here just to come together. And as you can hear, these beautiful women come with all their different gifts. You know, Fiona comes in with that architectural background, you know, they all come in and have carried on with their shamanic trainings. But I think in some ways it's all come back around to our health and our well-being, and how can we create that within ourselves, within our own soul, within our own physical body, in our home, in our land. And it's all connected. It's not like anything separate. And I think that's what you've all shared. Like, yeah, you came in through the door of Feng Shui, but then it was like, okay, but what about the land the house is on? So we better remember that. And then, okay, so then, you know, it's like working from the inside out and the outside in. So then it's like, well, the soul, the heart, the nervous system, and all of that. So that brings us into kind of, we decided to focus today's podcast all about health. So I thought I would just come in first of all. The first question is, and I'm going to ask each one of these beautiful women, what are some of, and Fiona, I'm going to start with you, but what, like if somebody was just showing up new to Feng Shui and they were like, okay, I feel lower energy, I haven't been feeling well, I'm under the weather, or even just more serious, like autoimmune disorders or anything, that what would you suggest that are some general things that people could take away from today to kind of improve the energy flow and the health within themselves, their family, their home?
Yeah, so it's actually a huge question and a huge area. And I suppose one thing I'd like to say before I start is that when this topic was suggested a while ago, it kind of threw me for six, because not that I wouldn't have approached Feng Shui from that angle, but I suppose a lot of people are curious about the abundance side and career and other areas of their life. Whereas in actual fact, the health, like you said, is the biggest part of it. And, you know, even just looking at the gua as well, the center gua is the health and well-being area, and it touches off every other gua, which is mind-blowing. So if that one is balanced, or there's more balance or clarity in that area, it actually affects every other gua as well. So yeah, I just think that's amazing. So usually if I'm having a conversation with someone and it's to do with their energy is low, or they're tired, or they're not motivated, typically, it kind of goes back to the fact that we can spend up to 80% of our time in our homes, and we can spend up to a third of that in our bedrooms. So I'm going to go straight to the bedroom.
Love it. Like we do.
No, I'm naughty.
Let's get going, Fiona. I like where you're coming from.
And it's just about the space that somebody sleeps in. And like one typical example I'm going to share, and it's back in January, and there was a lot going on for me. And I was down at home, and we were just going through some books. And there was this book that a neighbour had written of the history of the area of the village that I grew up in. And that's gone back over 100 years. There was a lot of local people named in it, and it's a beautiful book. And it would only be of interest to people that actually grew up in the village that I'm from. And I took that book with me, and I said, you know what, no, that's a lovely book, and I'll just have a read through a page or two every night or whatever. So I was leaving it on my locker beside my bed. And what was happening was I was starting to have all these dreams of war and fighting and all this type of thing. And I wake up in the morning exhausted, and I couldn't figure out for a while, a couple of days, this was going on. And I was thinking, this is crazy. And then I just sat on the edge of my bed, and I just looked around, and I kind of asked the question, what's different here? What's going on? And next thing I spotted the book. It was beside my head. I was sleeping beside this. And the minute I took it away, and it's not that I have read it and I do read it, I just put it into the bookshelf or put it somewhere else. But it just meant that I was able to have a deeper sleep, a more relaxed sleep, and wake up feeling energized in the morning. So I will always ask people, what do they have on the bedside locker beside their bed? And, you know, in some cases, it can be their medication if they're taking medicine as well. And again, that kind of obviously is like a circle back into if they have some illness, and the fact they're sleeping beside it as well. So I would invite them to actually maybe look at their lockers beside the bed, and consider putting those types of things or items somewhere else. Yeah, that was a huge one for me, and that was only in January of this year. So yeah.
I love that, Fiona. Thank you so much. Like, that is something that we can all take with us, and just be mindful. Any of these items that we bring into our space carry an energy, right? So it's even just the energy of the people before, but then it's actually the intention of why that book was written. And then the energy of everybody that's read it before you, and what it evoked in them. So thank you so much for sharing that. That's so powerful. So just first off, whatever you bring into your bedroom, your nightstand, but your home in general, how that can have such an effect. So that is just gold. So thank you so much. That's amazing. Okay, so we'll go on to Joanna next. What would you like to share, love?
As Fiona had mentioned, the centre gua is very important in the house. And, as you know, each gua represents a different family member. But I think the main thing for me is the centre gua. I have suffered, as you know, pain for years. I was kind of like a hermit. And through Feng Shui, I have got better. My life has changed so much because of meeting you, Amanda, and everything. So, but I still couldn't understand why there was still a lot of pain, and there was times the back would go and stuff. And only just there in January, I hired a skip, and I started gutting out the whole house because I thought there's something not right here. It wasn't until I came to this storage room that I have, I didn't realize till I looked at my map, in the dead center of the house. And there was about 20 crutches, 3 walking sticks, a walking aid. There was so much stuff for pain and disablement that I just looked and I went, oh my goodness. No wonder my back, and no wonder everything just it wasn't flowing the way it should. And I had stored them there to get them away from the kitchen and everything because I was doing so well. But they're all stored right in the center of the home.
Oh my God. Like, I first of all just got chilled, and now I got emotional, like, just, oh my gosh. Like,
yeah, couldn't believe it.
Wow.
Yeah, so I got on to a charity who send crutches and stuff out to the foreign countries, to help them. So I contacted them. They were delighted. I mean, I nearly had it already loaded at that stage.
Oh my gosh. And what is like really so touching about what you're all sharing, like, I know you're working with clients and you've got all your experience with your clients, but you're sharing your personal, intimate experiences, and that is so much deeper and more profound. So thank you for sharing that. And I just so grateful that you don't need any of that anymore.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, your life force, you're like glowing and radiant. So that's amazing. Thank you for sharing that. That's incredible. Yeah. And it is amazing when we start that process of clearing stuff out, and how it just it's a guidance. First of all, it's just, and it comes at the right time, because it's like, well, why didn't I clear out that a while ago, right? And it's like, how come I couldn't remember they're there? But actually, that when the student's ready, the teacher comes. Your teacher is your highest self, right? So it's like, bing, that cupboard, and you're like, oh, I forgot that was in there, And same thing. Not too long ago, I was clearing out my attic, and the family that lived in my home beforehand, there had been a divorce, and it wasn't a good divorce. And I was clearing the attic, and I found loads of their photos. And this is from over, like, the photos are from about 60 years ago, but all this stuff had been in the attic for so long. So I found journals, and it was just like over my head, So it's just, speaking of personal experiences, is how when we're really ready to clear something out, it comes to our awareness. So thank you for sharing that. That is so, so powerful. Thank you. Katherine.
I guess, Amanda, when we were talking about this and thinking about it, originally it was, I know we say declutter, and it's a big thing with Feng Shui, but you're kind of going, oh, yeah. But when you actually, like Bernadette and I teach some Feng Shui online, but when we started teaching it, it was like, okay, we need to get with the program and really look at our own homes, because I guess you kind of get used to how things are, and you don't, if there's a pile in the corner that, oh, I'll deal with that next week, and it could be 2 months down the road. But you're not as aware of your own home as you think you are. Well, I speak for myself. As I'm going through stuff, it's like, oh yeah, that stuff I need to sort. But you kind of, as you said, Joanna, close the door into that cupboard, and I get to it again. But it's, what's in view. But a lot of the time, what's in view isn't actually in your awareness. It's like looking at the artwork or looking at different things in your home. You need to really declutter. But for me, when I feel low energy and I just feel like there's something going on, that what's going on here, the space clearing. And I know we've gone over space clearing and it's a bit of a process. But for me, just opening the windows, opening the patio door in the morning, letting the fresh air in. You know, I'm not going to every morning do a space clearing on my home, but like having the intention of letting in the fresh air, letting in the new life, welcoming in, you know, the good, and like clearing out the stale, stagnant air from last week, yesterday, just allowing in the beginning, the new stuff to come back into our lives. And I feel really refreshed once I do that. Just being in the space, being aware of my space, being aware of what's bothering me. If there's, you know, something in my life holding me up at the moment, okay, what's going on here? What am I not dealing with? What do I need to take time with? And just stop. Because I know everybody's life is really busy and we're rushing around and, you know, there's so much we need to do. But if you can take even 5 minutes and just look around the room you're in, well, what is that thing that's bothering me that I'm keep saying, oh, I'll deal with that next week, or I'll sort that out. And that for me has been huge. It doesn't have to be, I need to do the whole house this week, or I need to do this room. It's like move one thing that has bothered you, that you're saying, I don't want to deal with that, or there's a lot of energy around that, you know, it's going to take me too long. But if you spend even 20 minutes on one project that you've been, you know, left on the shelf, or I'll deal with that eventually, just take a little bit of time and work on it. You know, it doesn't, as I say, have to be the whole house in one day. But I find that really powerful.
That's like nectar right there. My heart's just like, boom, with all of you, like the wisdom flowing around this circle is amazing. And you know, what really came to you when you're talking there is, you know, our conscious mind is really what, like 5%, right? And the unconscious, subconscious is 95%. And you nailed it there, Katherine, because you were like, you know, it's all that we can see, you know, just simple artwork, but what about all that stuff behind closed doors? If people have basements, attics, like that's, and it's like, what I love that they say that the most crammed, kind of darkest, cluttered place your home represents the shadow aspect. Do you know what I mean? And it's just like, and I love that, Katherine. It's like, oh, I just don't want to deal with that, or that's whatever. And we just close the door on it. But what's that? How's that blocking the energy flow? So we got some good stuff going here. I love it. And I love it, the simplicity. Yeah, we can't do this big clearing. And coming back around to that, Katherine. Okay, so I love that you open up your doors, you open up the windows daily and just invite that energy in and flowing. But on a space clearing level, how often would you recommend to our listeners? And if there was a simple way for them to do it, how might you suggest it?
People recommend that you do it as often as you can. For me, I try and do it. I don't do it every month even, but a goal would be to do it every month. It was funny, my daughter was home recently and she said there was some energy in the kitchen. She'd love to break some plate. And as she passed, there was a plate just standing drying and it crashed. She didn't touch it. I'm like, okay, better be careful of what you reach for. But the sound, the vibration of it was like, okay, that means a space clearing. Again, not being aware that there's some energy that just needs to be dispersed. And, you know, it could have been just an argument. It could have been, I stubbed my toe and screamed. I don't know, but it needed to be dispersed from my kitchen. And it was with the breaking of a plate.
Amazing. And there's
I don't recommend doing that. There's easier ways.
The break plate. But there's something about how, when you describe that and what I felt, the sound vibration of even the crash of the plate was some kind of sound vibration of a release.
Yeah, you could actually, as I went, like you could feel the vibrations from the noise. I'm like, oh geez, it would be an expensive way to do a space clearing on a regular basis, but that's very those tents, you know, that's much easier drum, much easier camera way.
But I love it as well that even now with you and the work that you're doing in the world and how you've given yourself tools and open your consciousness even more, now your children are like, oh, I feel like the house needs a clearing. Like they're coming to you like, hey, I can feel this. And what a gift for them.
Yeah. no, I was really chuffed that, you know, that she probably wouldn't want to admit that she's tuning into stuff, but she is.
Oh, that's brilliant. Thank you, Catherine. And Bernadette.
So I'm not going to start in the bedroom. I'll get to the bedroom, Fiona, but I'm not going to start in the bedroom. And Catherine's daughter is going to kill her. And I think for me, the big thing when I learned Feng Shui was coming home, because my front door, I rarely used it. And there was always a kind of a blocked energy there. And to get the energy flowing through the house, I used to be trying to open the door, and it makes a big difference when you use all the doors in your house. A huge difference. So I've got 4 children who have cars, so now they all have parking spaces. So they've got to use that door to come into the house and out of the house, because it means they're all used all the time. The stagnant in the front door going up the stairs, you'd feel it straight away. And like Catherine, I think that the minute your health starts going anyway sideways, you have to look at the decluttering. We're big into decluttering, so I'm not going to go into it again. But the one thing I'll say to people is, if they don't know if their house needs to be decluttered or not, if they get a bunch of flowers and put it into the center of their house, and if the flowers die after 3 or 4 days, they need to declutter. If the flowers I've had flowers that would live up to 2 weeks, because I'd be after doing space clearing in the house. And then sometimes I'd have flowers and after 2 or 3 days they're dying, and I'm like, oh, I know what I need to do here.
I love
Getting back to autoimmune diseases or any kind of disease like that, when we did the Feng Shui course, I had a friend, and she would have had a lot of health issues, especially PMSs and different things like that. And I remember saying to you in the class, you know, what can she do? And you told me what remedies for her to put in. And she actually put in those remedies that day. No, she was also sleeping in the bedroom where was the eldest child or the oldest woman of the house. But when she put in those remedies, she hasn't had an issue since.
Wow.
So if that doesn't prove it, like this girl had spent 6 or 7 years every month, like it was horrendous for her. And when she put in those remedies, it actually stopped.
That's
It
amazing.
actually stopped, like within, I'm talking with 24 to 48 hours, it stopped. So like I was so thankful after that. It was like, this works.
That's
100%.
amazing. And do you feel that, and there's a few things that I want to like come back on that you've mentioned that are really powerful. Do you feel like there was anything in particular that she did? And especially I think our listeners are going to be like, well, what did she do? You know, what was it?
Well, the remedies that, because of the numbers of the house that she was in, it was fighting against her body, number one. And number two, she decluttered her bedroom. Because I was saying, like, my thing is that you can put in the remedies, but if you've any clutter, like she had clutter going back to her childhood, when she decluttered it and put in those remedies, and she changed the direction of her bed as well. The direction of her bed was heading for the door. So she actually changed it to a solid wall.
That's amazing.
I think she changed the headboard as well. Her headboard was slanted, and she put a solid headboard there as well.
Wow.
So,
Yes, there was a lot of really powerful grounding, centering, clearing, and you know, and a lot of the listeners are probably like, what do you mean by the numbers? So we're talking about classical feng shui, traditional feng shui, flying stars. So Bernadette, we're talking about in class, and we found out her date of birth and the energy of the house. We're able to kind of work with the elements and rebalance it, and then based on her date of birth, her best directions. I love all that. And then the other thing I want to say as well is Bernadette, and I remember that, and in Ireland a lot of people do tend to use their back door. They just kind of drive around the back of the house, and usually there might be a mudroom and it leads into the kitchen, so if you're coming to groceries and stuff, it can make sense. But I love that you share that, Bernadette, because if the front door is where what we call the main mouth of chi, right, it's where a lot of the energy comes in, and if it's never been used, you know, it gets stagnant. So I love that you gave all the kids different parking spots, so they had to come in, use the front door and really get the energy flowing. And then I also love that you gave everybody this really powerful gauge to know if the energy of their home needs a clearing. You know, it's like the flowers, and the flowers represent us, because I know this, like I have a million plants all around my home. And I, you know, when we go through hard times, and I noticed at one stage I was going through a really tough, like everything died. And I was like, I know you guys are just reflecting how I'm feeling. And now, feeling good, everything's blossoming. And it helps that we're in Bialtana right now and everything's blossoming. But it is amazing how our home will speak to us. And I love that simple practice you've given us, Bernadette, like where if the flowers last and they're still looking happy, they're representing, if they start to droop, it's like representing our energies droop a little bit, right? So
Yeah, I think that, and the other thing I want to mention about decluttering for your health, like most people will say, get up in the morning and just do it. And I can't. Like I've got a good time of the day, and that's around noon that I can get right in there and get it done. Whereas like a lot of people would be like, oh, like there's a lot of books out there suggesting that if you don't want to do something, you should get up in the morning and do it. And I think people should be very gentle with themselves around decluttering, because I even find when I declutter my presses above, like trying out food, I find it so wasteful and sinful, and I find that hard without going into the laundry room and decluttering. So people should be really gentle with themselves. They should do it, but they should pick a time that they are able to do it, because if we keep saying you have to do it in the morning, and if they're not morning people, they're never going to do it. So I feel that people should find the time. We all know the time is right for us to do stuff. And anyway,
I love that. I love that message. Be gentle to ourselves, listen to our body, listen to our own internal clock. And then we're going to get the best out of ourselves and have the best experience and compassion, Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you so much. That's amazing. Thank you. Okay, Fiona, we're going to come back around to you, love. So, okay, you've taken us to the bedroom. Where are you taking us next?
Well, I was trying to go to another room, but I'm back in the bedroom again. Sorry, guys.
We like hanging out there. That's perfect.
I think for me, the fact that we spend so much time in our bedroom, we can spend 8 or 9 hours out of every day in our bedrooms. It's absolutely vital that the space works for us so that it is nurturing for good sleep. I know I need 8 hours every night of sleep. And if I don't get my sleep, I just can't function. So that's why I'm so passionate about the fact that if that space is nurturing for me and my body, I will get that lovely sleep that my body requires. And therefore then I can function and be more present in every day and choose more towards more of vitality and everything that I want to have more of as well. Okay, back into the bedroom. So it's kind of on the theme of decluttering, and like I've loved all the tips that are there. And like under the bed, it's when like people, when I start mentioning about what's under your bed, people start to kind of, they don't want to make eye contact with me, or they kind of see the look on their faces. And I did a presentation a few weeks ago at a lovely workshop here in Charleville. And I started talking about, what's under your bed or what's under my bed. And I could tell by the looks that there was a huge amount of resistance. And I shared that, it's having space under your bed, like that's if there's no drawers or whatever, that it's clear. It just means it's conducive to you having a nurturing, relaxing sleep as well. Whereas just like the book that I mentioned earlier on the locker, if there's boxes of stuff under the bed, maybe it could be study notes from a course you did 10 years ago, or it could be old shoes or boots, or some people don't even know what's under their bed. They've never looked. That can be the difference. And it seems so simple that a lot of people actually discount it. And yet I know for sure the clients that I have, when they actually put that in place and they actually look under their bed and actually take out all these items that aren't even relative to the bedroom, that things change for them. And then just regarding the whole, like, where do I start with decluttering and things like that? I know a lot of people don't start because it's so overwhelming. And it's a case of, I don't even know where to start. And there's so much to do. I'm just not even going to start because it's just easier not to go there. And there's one question I always ask or give to clients to use when they're trying to find a start point. And I use it each time I'm going decluttering again, or if there's somewhere that I feel there's some area that I require to declutter. And the question that I would always ask them is, if there was just one space or one box or one drawer that you could declutter today that would change up everything in the next 3 months for you, what area would it be? And they always get something, and it's different for everybody. And sometimes it could be a box up on the top of the wardrobe, or it could be their makeup bag, or it could be a drawer above in the attic, or something else. And it just means that the overwhelm is taken out of it then. And that just by they knowing that just by doing that one drawer for them, that's actually going to be the game changer for them. And that gives them the momentum then to keep going as the weeks go on as well. And I love what Bar said, where it's about being kind, because that's the piece, isn't it? It's about, this is all a process. And because everything is energy, it's really important that we honor how we are in the process as well. And that we honor if we're tired or we don't want to do something on a day, that we give ourselves the space to maybe go for a walk in nature and say, right, park it today and I will go and do declutter tomorrow or on Saturday or another day that works for me as well.
Oh my gosh, so beautiful. It's all like, it's just amazing to witness you all, because you're all the teachers, just it's so beautiful to listen to you share this beautiful wisdom from your heart and soul. So I love that, Fiona, and I think it's a really important piece that you bring up. Like, I love that you were teaching this workshop and you just addressed under the bed and you could just feel it energetically, but you could see it on people's faces where there was a resistance coming up. So, and then just to be compassionate with ourselves, and to, like, I always find anything that we have a fear around or there's resistance around, the gifts are on the other side, so once we embrace that. So I think anybody that's listening here today and just kind of goes under my bed, or the flowers always are dead the minute they go in, or whatever it is that they're hearing, that just be loving, be patient, feel into it. And I love that, Fiona, just take one step, something that's doable. And I like that, even just the makeup bag, do that, and then that's an achievement right there. So thank you for sharing that. That's amazing. Thank you. Joanna.
Hello. I was just thinking there, and one of the main things I find, especially if people are feeling very low and kind of like on the verge of depression and down, is to open up your curtains, as Katherine was saying about open the windows and letting in the air, and Bernadette open the front door, but let natural light in. Open your curtains as soon as you get up in the morning, open them up and just breathe in that beautiful light. I know in Ireland we have more rain than sun at times, but still it's daylight. It's lovely. And put on a bit of music, because when I was for years sitting in that corner, all I did was put on the TV. And I just sat there, and I didn't care if the curtains were open or closed, and I didn't care about anything really. And if you're that kind of person that you just get up and you put the TV and you're sitting there, keep the TV off and just put on music, and it raises that vibration. It raises how you feel. There could be a song on that you like, and next thing you're finding your shoulders are going and your hips are going, and it just cheers you up so much, and taking in that light. And another thing I would like to say is to be aware of your surroundings. You could find that you've severe pain in your hip or you've severe pain in your shoulder. Have a look at what your bed is facing, or the chair that you're sitting on. Is there an edge of a wall that is hitting your bed or on the chair, or if it's an edge of a cupboard or a beam on the ceiling that's hitting you? Just have a look around and just be aware of what is being directed at you. And I find when you find that, even if it's an edge of a wall and you don't have a lot of finances to take in a plaster and curve the wall, etc., get a scarf and pin it at the top of the ceiling and let that scarf just fall down, just straight down over that edge. And that just takes that sharp cutting energy just away from you. So just to raise your vibrations, play music, and be aware of anything that's cutting your energy while you're sitting or sleeping.
Amazing, like jewels of wisdom there. And I love that. And thank you, because, we've all had times we're going through the dark night of the soul, or even just times within the month, where we need to take that time to go inwards and we don't feel like opening the windows or the curtains, but and it's okay to have those days where we do keep everything closed and, honor that darkness that we might need to go into. But I think then it's like not just sitting in that. And then just something as simple as the music, opening up the curtains, and the minute, like, there's one sharp wall I can, like, just the corner of a wall I can see in front of me. And like, I was like, oh, I just tuned into that. So thank you for that. Just speaking of that sometimes can help us tune into vibration. I love that. Just putting a scarf over it, put a plant in front of it. Like, I love
exactly
what a difference that can make. So That's amazing. Thank you for sharing. Thank you.
Okay.
Catherine, what would you like to share next on?
I was thinking about when we were doing the training, Amanda, and you were talking about the placement of furniture and how the chi flows. And I suppose it's like how a river would flow. Does it have blockages or can it flow freely through the house? But I remember having an issue with my couch, and my couch was, the back of my couch was where you'd come in. So it was like, you should be facing the door, you should have a view. And I was like, I'm not replacing the couch. That's just ridiculous. But it actually blocked up the whole room. I have a beautiful window seat, which wasn't being used because it was being blocked off. But I've changed the furniture and my room is just completely different. It has opened it up. People really like sitting in there now and chatting because the flow, it just feels free and easy. So I know with people, it's again, like me, it's like, I'm not changing the couch. That was an expensive piece of furniture. I moved it to somewhere else. I actually donated it. But for me, it's loving where you know, the furniture that you have, the things that you've been given, if they don't bring you joy. You know, if somebody gave you the most beautiful lamp, but you think it's the most ugliest thing, and you look at it, you're having it in your sitting room, it's not bringing you joy. And that, I suppose, at the time was like, I was trying to be practical, going, well, it's functional and it works. And, you know, I have to hold on to that. And we do that to ourselves. We hold on to stuff that no longer serves us. So we need to release it. We need to donate it. We can throw it out. We can do whatever we want, but only have stuff that is really resonates with you, that you look at it and it brings you joy, that you are happy to have it in your home. And so many of us have stuff that just is functional, but it's either ugly or it's just not what we would have chosen if we had tons of money, or, you know, and again, it's not about money, but it's about having a lovely feeling in your home, stuff that is important to you. It doesn't have to be, you know, huge amount of furniture or a huge amount of stuff on display, but just stuff that's important to you. And when you're sitting in your home, that you feel comfortable in that space. And that's, I suppose, for me, Feng Shui is all about looking around you and appreciating or learning to appreciate what you have, but also saying, I really don't want that anymore. That no longer serves me. I need to move it on. Somebody else may love it, or it may, you know, find a space somewhere else. And again, that's raising your own vibration. But unless you're aware of your surroundings or aware of what pieces of furniture, what things are in your life. I mean, I love plants, and up to a few years ago, I don't think I had very many plants in my home. But now I have plants everywhere, and it's like somebody asked me for a piece of my plant one day. I'm like, no, that'd be like cutting off a finger or something. It's like, leave my babies alone. But, you know, so plants for me, I love having them, and they're luscious and they look lovely and they just bring me joy. But being happy in my own space and being aware of my own space, that's what brings me joy.
I love that. And I found listening to you, and I'm sure for the rest, it was very soothing and reassuring. And not that we need it, but it's almost like you just gave us all permission that we don't have to just keep it just because somebody gave it to us, or just because we bought it at one stage, the couch or whatever it may be. If it's not bringing us joy, that then it's not serving us. It's like you'd rather be without something for a bit than stuff that actually brings down your energy. So thank you for that. Like just that permission to let go of something that was functional for a while, but it's not even functional anymore because it brings down our energy. So thank you for that. That's amazing. Thank you. And Bernadette, and I loved you and how you called her Burr. That was gorgeous. I love that. Burr, would you like to go?
Norman calls me B. I'm not sure which one it stands for. And Catherine, I will get that snipping of the plant yet. Trust me. So will you, Joanna.
Ooh, we're all intrigued about this plot now.
I think going back to the bedroom. Sorry, no, Fiona. We must have a talk about that afterwards. When we moved into the house we were in, you know how you have your teenage things and your pre-marital stuff, and anyway, there was a nice tidy little box, and I put it under my bed because, you know, when you're children, you're looking for the place. And I was having this dream over and over, just went on for months, lads. And then, you know, the children moved out and we were able to move stuff. But it wasn't until I did Feng Shui that I realised the reason I was having that dream over and over was because something that was inside in the box that's up in the attic, and after Feng Shui, I actually decluttered that box completely. But going back to what you were saying about the book, it just came back into my head there that I remember that dream. Anyway, for me,
like you have us all intrigued now. What was this? And
I'm not telling you any more than that now.
That sounds like the more information we definitely need here.
my husband might be watching this.
There's more to that story than meets the eye.
Anyway.
Moving right along.
Where were we? Oh yes. As the other three ladies will contest, in my house when I get up in the morning, I open all my windows and doors. They love coming to my house because the warmth in the winter time. Don't you, girls?
The warmth of love, maybe not temperature.
Warmth of love, the warmth of fresh air. I just think it's amazing to do it, and I agree with Joanna, pulling back the curtains. I hate coming down to the kitchen in the morning. The other 5 or 6 of them could be up and no one will pull the curtains. And it's the first thing I have to do is pull the curtains in the morning. And the other thing is going out dancing in your bare feet in the garden. I was out this morning dancing to the fight song in my bare feet. I think there's no other greater feeling. When you come back in after that, you could declutter, you could move mountains, I think anyway. After dancing and keeping yourself grounded and just to uplift your day. And if you're feeling down, I think that's where you should start if you're looking at your home. And as we say in Feng Shui, if your home doesn't give you a hug or that warm feeling when you walk into it, by walking out and simply grounding yourself in the garden, by dancing and raising your vibration, then when you come in, you can see where you want to start. And Fiona is right. Start with the makeup bag. Start with the smallest of things, and you get addicted to it so much so that in 2 years' time you'll be like, "Do you remember I had?" And you can't find it. But that's a good thing because you never needed it for 2 years, so you still don't need it. So, and the other thing is, I think that anyone that would be interested in Feng Shui and that is to have a place in the home where they can go and have a quiet time for themselves. Like meditate or read a book, or it's so important. Like we build these houses for people to come in, or for our children, or for our husbands, or partners, whoever, our dogs, whichever. But we forget about ourselves, and I think it's so important. And as you said this to us, Amanda, to remember ourselves in our home, to have a place where we can go and sit, be it meditate, be it painting like Joanna does, be it, it's important to have that place where we go and we do what brings us joy, basically.
So beautiful. You shared so much, Goddess. And I love that you're the one that gets up in the morning, opens everything up. The Goddess is awoken. And if you want to catch her now, she's out dancing barefoot in the lawn. And I love that.
With fairies.
And I love that because then you come in and then it's like you're clear. I mean, well, maybe something happens in the afternoon, you go out and have another dance, but it's just like you come in and it helps you rebalance, reprioritize. And I love that you just brought that energy from the land up, and down and through, and then you bring that and you show up to the world with that. That's so beautiful. And you shared so much beautiful, beautiful wisdom there. So, and I kind of feel like we could be here to this time next week because this is our love right here. But I'd love to come around with one last question, and whether it's just your own personal spiritual practice, your own practice, or whether it's home related, but we'll come back around 3 practices simple things that you do daily or weekly or however it may be, that you really feel keeps your vibration high, clear, clean, balanced. And Fiona, we'll start with you now.
Okay, so one of the things I've been doing the last 12 months, and it's what I used to do it years ago and I stopped, and it's kind of on the theme of the dancing, is I used to love dancing, and I used to do salsa dancing, go to classes, and absolutely loved it. And at the time, this was over 20 years ago, I suppose I didn't understand. I suppose looking at it from an energetic perspective, I didn't say, oh, well, it raises my vibration. I just said I loved it. So I started back salsa dancing again last September, going to classes and loved it. And I'm now also doing set dancing, and it's like an extreme sport, but it absolutely, I'm buzzing after it and absolutely love it. And that for me is something that I do regularly. Like I was dancing twice last weekend and absolutely love it. And there's a great buzz in the room as well. And I feel so much so energized afterwards. So that's one thing I do. And it might not be for everybody, but I suppose because we've all spoke of dancing in various shapes and forms, it can be simply putting on music, like Joanna said, and just turn it up on the volume and just dance around the kitchen like no one's watching. Or outside in the garden as well. It's whatever gives you the buzz. So that's my new thing. That's fairly new back on the scene. So absolutely love it. And I just can't get enough of it. And I feel so much better after it. It's just, it just can't say enough about it.
Oh.
So then on a less extreme version of that, I love walking in nature as well. So when I can or where I can, I will, even if it's only 10 minutes, because I know a lot of people are busy. If I can at all, I will go and walk where there are trees. And definitely for me, I love the seawater. I love the sea. For me, sometimes I wake up and I go, I have to walk on the beach today and I have to just go paddle in the water. For me, it just gives me that, it's like a tonic. So when I can, I will do that as well. And I do meditations as well fairly often. I have a lovely 20-minute one. It's called a Twin Hearts meditation from Pranic Healing. And it's absolutely gorgeous because I can do it anywhere. I have it on my phone. And it's just an easy one to do. And like everyone can find 20 minutes of their day to either, in my case, do a meditation or 10 minutes to go and do that dance that I call it the happy dance with the music, or go for that 10-minute walk in the outside in nature as well. So they're my go-to.
That's beautiful. Thank you so much. They're gorgeous. Joanna?
Well, one of the first things I do as soon as I get up, and if it's a dry day, I open my front door, because being in Donegal, we use our back door all the time. So I always, every day, I open the front door and I'll step outside of it, and then I'll come back in and I just nearly greet the energy as if it's a person. I say, welcome, welcome, and I take it right through the whole house. Every day I'll do that at some stage, if it's dry. And the music thing, that's, you know, for years people used to say to me, just play music. But when I was in that place, I didn't want music on. So now I just try and put on the music or the radio as often as possible. You'd be so proud of me, Bear. So proud, no TV. I do definitely try and raise my vibration up that much. Walking as much as I can with the dogs. Just sitting and grounding myself on a beautiful piece of rock, you know, and just sitting there with and yesterday when I was doing that, the two dogs that came, now they're huge, and they just stood on me while I was sitting on the rock. It was like, you know, they were telling me it's not time to get up yet. It's time to ground yourself and connect with Mother Earth. And they stood on me, the weight of them. So I stayed there and I connected, and it was absolutely beautiful. So it's mainly just, you know, open the front door, try and get out as much as you can. I have started art classes. I've always loved painting, and for years I stopped all that. So I started art classes on a Tuesday morning, and I meet my mother and we do it together. That just raises my vibration so much. Just being there with her. And last year I started a horticultural course with my father. So just doing something different with your parents, you know, or your family, it just raises you and it makes you feel so good. Now I have to admit, my Tuesday is I do nothing because I spend the whole day then with my mother, but I love it. And just being grateful every day for just being able to get up and move about and get to be able to drive again and try and keep positive. I think that's more than 3, but
that's beautiful. Thank you.
That's my main
I
things.
even feel invigorated hearing about your practices, and I feel like I went there with you. And your beautiful mom, she was in the class with us, Margaret.
I know. Oh, I will always be so grateful to Mum, because it was because of Mum I met you. She booked it and she got us down there, and it just changed my life.
And you're an incredible artist. I've seen some of your amazing work. So I love that. That's another form of expression for you, which is amazing. And how amazing, the dogs just like, nope, you're staying put. And they were tuning into that energy too, you know?
Completely. I was there, you are so heavy, get off me. And then it just kind of clicked. You know, you just don't want me to move yet. And I was sitting on this huge big slab of rock, you know, up the hill. And it just hit me that it wasn't time for me to get up yet. And I just sat there and connected. And 2 dogs stood at me. You know, they're like 2 horses. They're huge.
And I love that. The other practice that I felt was really powerful, and all of you have shared this in different ways, you know, just talking about energy flow. But I love that, Joanne, there was something about when you're like, I open up my door and I invite it in, and I invite it in all throughout the house. And I think, did you describe it as like a friend or somebody?
Yeah.
And I love
Yes.
that, because I really felt that visual of bringing the energy, not just like, I'm opening the door, but it's, I'm opening the door, I'm inviting it in and invited to flow. And as Katherine and Bernadette and Fiona have all shared, like, you know, describing, you know, as Katherine was saying, it's like we want to flow like we would have this beautiful meandering stream, like we want that flow. So just through furniture alignment and through our intentions and opening doors, and as Bernadette shared, opening up the, you know, the curtains, so we can all intentionally bring that energy flow in. So that's beautiful. Okay, Katherine, please share with us.
I mean, I guess we're all pretty much the same. I love what Fiona said about the set dancing being an extreme sport, because I've just gone back to set dancing lessons and I feel like it's an extreme sport, but I love it. I like to do meditations. I'm not as in practice as I was. I used to do them every single morning for 10 to 15 minutes. Again, it's a little less often now. I love going swimming, not the extreme ocean swimming, but there's a pool quite close by, and if I can go in the mornings, it's just a lovely way to start the day. We have 2 dogs. So for me, they bring me joy in the mornings. Open up the patio door and they're running in and out and bringing in toys and playing. And they just, again, spending time with the animals. I just love it. But spending time, taking time for me and making the time is a great way to start the day.
So beautiful. Thank you. And there's a theme here with us: nature, animals, energy flow. I love it. And Bernadette, if you'd like to share your practices with us.
I find in the morning getting up and going out, just simply walking out in the grass. You don't have to dance, even though the dancing does bring up the vibration. That's a given in the morning to, I suppose, set the day. And like Fiona used to do Twin Hearts meditation. Sometimes I go back to it. But actually what I love at the moment is actually just sitting, even if it's like drizzling a bit. If it's raining, no, I don't do it. But just go out and sit in a chair and just listen to the birds and to the trees, and just try and get out of your head and get one with nature. Because I think we spend so much time on computers, on phone, at home. Just to have that 20 minutes, half an hour in the morning, just sit there is unbelievable. And I never go to bed without being grateful for something. I try to pick 3 things and I try to write them down. Not every night will I write them down, but as long as I say them in my head, I have to go to bed with a grateful heart, because if I don't, I'm a completely different person in the morning. So,
oh, it's so beautiful. Thank you for sharing, love. Thank you. And, you know, I just have to say, it's such an honor and a joy to be in this sacred circle with you all, and just get to witness you, and just the light and the beauty and grace and all that you're sharing. Like, you know, you're the teachers. So, and I know that you're all doing amazing stuff in the world. So would you share a little bit, Fiona? Maybe we'll start with you. I know you've been doing incredible workshops and all sorts, like transforming people's homes and lives. So will you tell us a little bit, or anything that's coming up new you'd like to share with us?
Yeah, it's been quite a journey, actually. So like in the last 12 months, I have done some one-day workshops up the country, and I've learned, it's interesting because I prepared some, you know, different topics that we cover throughout the day. And it's amazing what I learn from just chatting with the people that come to those workshops. And more recently then I've been doing some evening ones to be about an hour and a half. And I've teamed up with another lady she has a crystal shop. And as we all know, the crystals are a great part of the intentional feng shui as well, that can be placed in different parts of your house. And it's just mind-blowing, the people that I get to meet as part of that. And that just inspires me more and more just to keep going and to keep going. And in the last maybe 2 or 3 months, then it's more, I'm just finding the kind of work that I'm doing is more, well, not necessarily more, but there's a lot more of around working with feng shui in businesses. And when I'm chatting with people, like some things, it's like the decluttering is a huge part. I found in one business there recently, the boss had been sent a checkbook. Now, checkbooks aren't even in existence anymore, I don't think. And it was 14 years old and he hadn't even taken it out of the envelope that was posted to him. So stuff like that and how it can affect their business. And then another lady most recently where she's got 14 staff. And she said, that the clients that come in and, for her business, it all rolls great and it's thriving. But the one area that's sticking her is the part where some of the staff are constantly, there's the bickering and the discord. And it's that whole body of work that I'm actually kind of, just looking at now as well. And I just find it absolutely fascinating how, with the tools that we have through the classical feng shui and the intentional feng shui, how putting in maybe one or two remedies can actually change up something so dynamically for someone. And it just continues to blow my mind. So, yeah.
That's amazing. And we're going to share everybody's website and social media so, they can find these beautiful offerings. So that's incredible. And I love that you're doing like shorter or longer workshops that people can join. And are they all in person? Or are you doing stuff online as well?
So these ones have been in person that I have done. I do also do a monthly offering. It's people can just go to my website and sign up for it. And it's there's a topic each month. The one I did for me actually was just last week and it was Ask Me Anything. So I was really putting myself out there. And we had some great conversations, really, really interesting conversations on that call. So each month I choose a different theme or topic, and it's really fascinating because it's just about the engagement that with people as well. It's just the stories and just getting to be part of their journey. It's just so humbling, and I'm just so grateful for the work. I'm just so grateful for being here as well. Thank you.
I'm so grateful to you, Fiona, and thank you for being here and sharing your light as you do. So thank you, love. Joanna, I know you've been doing some wonderful workshops. Tell us all about what you've been up to. Anything new on the horizons?
Yeah, I have done a vision board workshop, and I have to say it was very powerful. It was really good, and I can see huge changes for people because of it. I'm hoping to do an online one as well. There's a few who want to do it online, so. Yeah, and I was using it through the power of Feng Shui, the vision board. So it was good, and it was such a fun day, but magical and powerful. And we did a meditation. It was beautiful. And then I have done, and I am doing now in Tuam. I'm a Kambo practitioner, and I found it really resonated with me because it's a form of, I know they call it a plant medicine, even though it's an animal. But it's a great form of healing, and I find combining it with the Feng Shui and with the land healing and geomancy, it's an all-in-one. I'm healing the land, healing your home, and I'm healing you if you want to take that on. So I find it's combining the whole lot together is beautiful. And I was in Tuam last weekend, just sitting in one of the land clearing courses, and I was asked to come up and speak to them about Feng Shui. So I'm getting more and more confident in myself to speak about it and to get myself out there, because for years, as you know, Amanda, after our training, I worked on my home and I worked on myself before I was able to go out there and work on other homes. So I'm getting myself out there. So I have no website yet. I just, I have my Facebook and my Instagram.
It's all coming your way anyway.
It's all coming. Yes,
and
exactly.
To say that anybody has to have a website, I mean, just, it flows in all different directions. And I just want to acknowledge you from just what you've shared with us today, from what you cleared out, what you shared, your story, your words, to who you are and how you're showing up and how brave and how courageous and the work that you've put in. I just want to honor you and acknowledge you. That's just so profound.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, love. Katherine.
Well, Bernadette and I have set up Feng Shui with B&K, and we've been teaching some classes online, which has been a lot of fun, a lot of stress to start out with getting ourselves organized, but also, I guess when you're teaching it, you're learning a lot from everybody you come encounter with. And that journey has just been amazing. I really, each person has a huge part to play in your life. So what you take from it as much as what you give out has been great. Doing some house clearings, some space clearings has also, I love how a place feels after you've done the ley lines, after you've, looked at the property and made some changes, and just hearing people's lives, how much they change pretty quickly, like within a couple of weeks, how things have calmed down for them, or the stress has eased, or money is no longer flowing out the door. It just brings such joy. But doing stuff you love, and I mean, with Bernadette, it's been a laugh. It's been great fun. It's been, like, we have been serious some of the time, but it's worth it when you enjoy it. It's, that's what makes life worth living and worth changing, I guess, for people. So enjoying life and getting on with it.
Oh my gosh, thank you for all this incredible work that you're doing. And I love hearing about the shifts and just all the ways that you're both showing up. And I love that. So it's accessible to everybody, the B&K. We know Bernadette and Katherine. I love that. And online. So we'll have to check those out. Everything will be in the show notes. And what is your website?
My own website is healinghearts.com. HEARTHS, but it's the heart of the home rather than just the heart.
That's beautiful. Thank you for sharing, love. And I love hearing, I could feel the giggles and the joy and the fun of the pair of you. And that, like, I think that having collaborated with so many people, teaching things and running workshops, like that energy that the two of you hold of joy and like the giggles and the laughter. Yeah, there's stress. There's always, I mean, as I even was explaining to my daughter this morning, yeah, it's a stress. There's good stress, but it's still stress, and there's other kinds of stress as well. But I think when the facilitators are in that kind of synergy together, that just trickles down into everything then. So I love that. I love that. Thank you, Katherine. And Bernadette?
I forget what the question was. No, I don't. Like as Katherine said, we've been doing the workshop, and at the moment we have another one or two things on the horizon. I'm not going to say because we haven't quite.
Oh, now you're being way too secretive. You don't tell us about the dreams. You don't tell us what was in that box. You don't tell us.
What's that saying? Like, keep wanting more. I was always that kind of girl. And recently I've gone back into, I love making things. So to find a balance between doing treatments on people, from pranic healing to Reiki to Indian head massage. I find this, like, I love working with my hands. So I've gone back and I set up a small mini company, just making different things from tumblers to signs to you name it, I'll make it. So yeah, that's me basically. You'll find me on Facebook, no website. I'm a bit like Joanna. I'm slowly but surely getting there.
But as I said, I don't even know if it's necessary. It's like there's so many got to do things this way, and it's like, no, actually, no, it's not that.
But I think if people wanted you, they'll find you. Like it's like your teacher. Your teacher always shows up when you want one, and your customers will too. That's
yeah. It's like whatever is authentic to you and feels good to you and integrates in your life. That's it. So I love that. Thank you all so much. This was so amazing, and I'm just like in awe of all of you. You're just amazing. Thank you for sharing your wisdom. Thank you for being here. And we would love to hear from all of you that were here listening and watching. And we would love to hear if there was some beautiful wisdom you took from today's call and things that you implemented, results that you got, stories that you want to share from us. We would love to hear. And all these beautiful, beautiful goddesses' websites or contact information will be below, so you can reach out to them as well. So thank you for being here. Lots of love. Thank you, my loves. Mwah.